Hey, today we're talking with Nitin Gupta, who is CEO of Flytbase, and we're going to be doing a deeper dive into the very well received keynote session, how AI, drones, and robots are taking over energy operations, which he delivered recently at the Energy Drone and Robotics Summit this past June in Houston. It was clear from Nitin's presentation that Flytbase is at the forefront of integrating AI and robotics, especially drones, into industrial operations with a strong focus on critical infrastructure like oil and gas. His emphasis on the moment of convergence and the transformative power of AI, especially generative AI, combined with autonomous systems and domain expertise, provided a solid foundation for insights, and the audience was keen to learn more. So let's get started a talk with a focus on practical implementation, challenges, and future vision. Welcome to Nitin.
Thank you so much, Sean. It's a great opportunity. Really enjoyed the keynote, the ADR event. So thanks again for having me and look forward to our conversations today.
Fantastic. Well, let's dive right back in then and talk a little bit more about Flytbase's approach to integrating AI and robotics in industrial settings. During the session, you mentioned that most of your deployments have accelerated in the last 2 years. What specific technological advancements or shifts in industry mindset do you think may have been the most significant drivers of this increased adoption, particularly for critical infrastructure?
Right. So, Sean, let me tell you a little bit about Flytbase. So, Flytbase has been working on aerial robotics for the last many years. We are the industry leaders when it comes to automated drones and robotic systems. Now, recently, we got started with building everything in an AI native platform so that we can help our customers not just with drones deployments and flights, but also with processing of the data and getting real business insights using all this technology. So that is where we have seen amazing shifts happen in last couple of years, because earlier the hardware itself was not very reliable in many cases. So deploying a drone used to be quite time consuming. There were a lot of hardware issues and all kinds of systems coming together for the first time. However, now in last few years, these systems have become really reliable, really sophisticated, very reliable systems that work every time. So the reliability of this hardware has really changed the game in last few years. The second aspect is the AI, and the technology that was available till a few years ago was only able to help us collect the data and use basic algorithms for some photogrammetry or some stitching images together and things like that. However, the kind of systems that have recently become available, it's transformative. It's really amazing. It's almost magical how well AI systems can now understand these images and tell us so much more about our large sites. So doing inspections or understanding security and understanding compliance issues, all those things have become very human-like. So you can have very detailed, nuanced understanding of all kinds of assets, all kinds of situations, which was just impossible even 6 months ago. So it's the convergence of all this hardware refinements and these amazing capabilities in software that is driving a lot of interest, and we see all these industries completely getting transformed in next few years because of all this coming together.
Fantastic. That really helps, I think, set what the technology is really able to do today, which is almost magical. It's amazing. Another area that we wanted to get into was, one of the things that was discussed during the keynote was around somewhat that the window is starting to close, for the early adopter phase, at least. And, what advice would you give to energy companies that are still in the early stages of exploring AI and robotics integration? So what are the first steps that they should be taking to maximize the benefits and try to avoid being left behind to that fast follower crowd?
Right. So again, the technology is moving so fast right now that it is very important to engage. First step is to have conversations, to start these discussions. And what is becoming very, very important is for these domain experts, these energy companies, to start having these conversations with AI experts, so that we can work together in order to figure out how to best leverage this technology for real world applications. Because AI experts are really good at software, they're really good at understanding the capabilities of AI and using AI, but they don't know so much about the domain. They don't know about the real world challenges that we have in the field. And that is where energy companies and AI experts both need to work together in order to unlock all these capabilities, in order to make it actually useful in the real world. The interesting thing is, if you really follow what's going on in AI, it is no longer a question of if, it's just a question of when. A lot of these capabilities are already very mature. I mean, a lot is left to be done. Of course, AI is moving at warp speed. It's like really unfolding very, very fast. But whatever is already available is so powerful. It can already help us implement so many things that were just not possible earlier. So the sooner we start these conversations, the better we will be equipped to start leveraging this technology and continue to remain at the front as more and more capabilities continue to become available.
Yeah, some great points there. So really the idea of having an open mind to the possibilities, looking at your problems with AI expertise as to what you might be able to do are really some of the key things to really get going on something like this and start running at least pilot projects.
Yes, absolutely. And that is what we are observing, Sean, that in last 6 months, so many of these large companies, which otherwise used to take a long time in order to make decisions, in order to move, now everyone is realizing that things are moving so fast, and there is enormous ROI that can be realized with technology that is already available. So it's no longer incremental. It is no longer 10% improvement, 20% improvement. We are talking about several like orders of magnitude improvement. It's like 10x improvement. It's massive. It's not incremental, right? And that is why there is that urgency, because the sooner you adopt it, sooner you can be far ahead of the industry, of your other competitors. And like whatever else you are doing, maybe you will be able to realize 10-20% improvement, but with adoption of AI, it can be massive. And that is why it is not something that you can delay. It has to start ASAP.
It sounds like the scale of change is quite impressive. You mentioned also during your presentation about upwards of an $800 million annual savings was mentioned around an oil and gas company. You're talking about really a huge scale change, not incremental change, but scale change. What are some of the KPIs or metrics that your clients typically are using to measure the ROI of working with Flightbase deployments and AI enablement, of course?